I want you to stop whatever you're doing and really listen to me, because what I'm about to say is going to shake you awake. For too long, you've been living your life in a way that makes everyone else comfortable while leaving yourself exhausted, frustrated, and invisible. You've been too nice, too available, too eager to please, and the world has taken full advantage of it. People have been calling on your energy, your time, your focus, your heart, and what do you have to show for it? Nothing. Empty hours, drained energy, dreams delayed, and a life that feels like it's moving past you while you stand there trying to make everyone else happy. And I'm here to tell you something that you may not want to hear, but it's the truth. Being too nice, being too available, and giving too much to people who do not deserve it is destroying your life. You have been living in a lie. You've been conditioned to think that pleasing everyone is the path to happiness, that bending over backwards for others is a sign of love or virtue, and that putting your dreams, your time, and your energy on hold for everyone else is somehow noble. That is a lie. It is a trap, and it has kept you small, it has kept you weak, and it has kept you from living the life you were born to live. Every time you say yes when you should say no, every time you make yourself available when you should be protecting your energy, every time you let someone else dictate your time or steal your focus, you are giving away your power. You are giving away your destiny. And you are doing it quietly while hoping someone notices, while hoping someone appreciates it, while hoping the world will somehow reward your overavailability. And here is the brutal truth. It won't. Not without boundaries. Not without respect, not without self-discipline. But today is the day that changes. Today is the day you wake up and understand that your life, your time, your energy, and your dreams are too valuable to be treated carelessly. Today is the day you understand that niceness without boundaries is not love, it is weakness. Today is the day you realize that saying no, protecting your time, prioritizing your goals, and choosing quality over quantity in relationships is not selfish. It is essential. Today is the day you understand that the people who deserve your energy will respect it, and the people who do not will fade away. And that is exactly how it should be. Today, you stop being available to everyone else and start being available for the one person who matters most, yourself. And I need you to pay attention, because I'm going to break down exactly why being too nice and too available has been holding you back, how it has drained your energy, stolen your focus, and sabotaged your dreams. I'm going to show you how to create boundaries that protect your life, how to prioritize your goals without guilt, how to surround yourself with the right people, and how to finally take control of your time and energy like a boss. This is not advice to be polite or to make life easier for others. It's a wake-up call to take your power back, to reclaim your life, and to step into the strength, focus, and respect that you have always deserved. The truth is, no one is going to hand you this life. No one is going to respect your energy unless you demand it. No one is going to honor your time unless you protect it. And no one is going to make your dreams happen unless you take control and fight for them yourself. So if you're ready to stop being weak, to stop being overly nice, to stop being too available, and to start living a life that commands respect, influence, and impact, then this message is for you. Every word, every idea, every strategy I am about to share will change the way you think, act, and live. So pay attention, lock in, and get ready, because after this, nothing will ever be the same. Time is the most relentless force you have, yet the one most people waste without even realizing it. Every second that passes is gone forever. You cannot buy it back. You cannot store it. And no amount of money can replace a single moment you let slip through your fingers. And yet, so many people live as if time is endless. They spread themselves thin. They answer every call, respond to every message, show up whenever someone wants, and say yes to everyone who asks. They are giving away their most precious resource, their time, to people who may not even deserve it. The harsh truth is, every time you allow yourself to be too available to everyone, you devalue your own life, your own dreams, and your own potential. You are pouring your energy into other people's priorities while your own goals gather dust in the background. Your time is not a toy. It is not something to be tossed around carelessly. When you are constantly saying yes to everyone else, you are telling yourself, even if unconsciously, that your own time, your own life, your own mission is less important than anyone else's demands. And the reality is, life is short. You do not get unlimited chances to pursue your dreams, to grow, to become the person you are meant to be. Every moment you spend catering to someone else's agenda is a moment you are stealing from yourself, a moment you are losing forever. You cannot afford to live your life on autopilot, constantly at the beck and call of people who may not even have your best interests at heart. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who have achieved greatness in their lives. None of them became who they are by being available to everyone. They became who they are by valuing their time, by protecting it fiercely, by understanding that every hour spent chasing someone else's approval is an hour lost from building their own empire. They knew that time is a currency and they invested it wisely. They said no to distractions. They said no to people who drained them. They said no to requests that didn't align with their vision. And in doing so, they created space for the people, the opportunities, and the experiences that truly matter. You have to understand that your time is your most valuable asset because it is finite. You cannot earn more of it. You cannot create more hours in a day. You can only choose how you spend the time you have. And if you continue to make yourself too available, if you continue to let everyone else dictate how you spend your hours, you are sabotaging yourself. You are giving away the very tool that could shape your future. You are giving away your life. Every moment you spend saying yes to someone else when your answer should have been no is a moment that could have been spent building your skills, building your health, building your relationships with people who actually uplift you, building the future you deserve. Being too available is often disguised as kindness. People see it as being nice, as being supportive, as being a good friend or a good colleague. But here's the truth you need to hear. Being nice at the expense of your own life is not kindness. It is a trap. It is a way of keeping yourself small while allowing the world to walk all over you. True respect, true success comes from understanding that your time is sacred. It comes from realizing that you are the steward of your own life. And if you do not protect it, nobody else will. When you are selective with your time, you are telling the world, and more importantly yourself, that you matter, that your dreams matter, that your energy, your focus, your life is not something to be taken lightly. Now imagine for a moment if you lived every day as if time was the most valuable asset in the world, because it is. Imagine if you started saying no to distractions, no to people who drain you, no to commitments that do not serve your growth. Imagine if you reclaimed every hour you had been giving away and invested it back into your dreams, into your passions, into your own personal development. The results would be extraordinary. You would start to see doors open that had been closed before. You would start to experience a level of productivity, focus, and personal growth that is impossible when your time is scattered and diluted across countless people and trivial matters. Time is also a test. It tests who you are, what you value, and how strong your boundaries are. If you allow yourself to be too available, you are letting people dictate your priorities, and that means you are living a life that is not your own. Your time is a reflection of your self-respect. The more you guard it, the more you command respect from others. The more you let it slip away to people who do not deserve it, the more you are telling the world and yourself that your life can be treated as disposable. Do not make that mistake. Do not trade your life for someone else's convenience. The people who succeed, the people who achieve greatness, understand that time is everything. They understand that being too available is a weakness, not a virtue. They understand that the ability to say no, the ability to prioritize yourself is not selfish. It is essential. They understand that if you want to create an extraordinary life, you have to treat every hour as a chance to move closer to your dreams. Every hour you waste trying to please everyone else is a chance lost forever. So today, you need to ask yourself a brutal question. How much of my time am I giving away to people who do not value me? How much of my energy, my focus, my life am I sacrificing for the sake of being nice or available? Because the truth is, being nice to the wrong people, being available to everyone, is the fastest way to shrink your life, to shrink your dreams, and to shrink the version of yourself that you are capable of becoming. Protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Your time is your most valuable asset. And the moment you understand that, you will start to make choices that empower you, choices that elevate you, choices that ensure that every second of your life is invested in the person you are becoming, not in the distractions of the world around you. Remember, life does not wait. Every second that passes is gone forever. Guard your time, protect your focus, and stop giving away what you cannot afford to lose. Your time is your currency, your leverage, and your power. Treat it that way and everything else will follow. You need to understand something very clearly. People will take what you give without ever thinking twice about respecting you. They will consume your time, your energy, your patience, and your kindness as if these things are unlimited. They don't care about your sacrifices unless you make them care. And here's the problem. When you are too nice, when you are too available, when you say yes to everything, people begin to take you for granted. They begin to expect that you will always be there, that you will always comply, that you will always put their needs above your own. They don't see your boundaries. They don't see your life, your dreams, your priorities. All they see is an endless resource, a human being who will bend and bend until there is nothing left. Being kind is not a weakness. Being generous is not a crime. But when your kindness is automatic, when your generosity has no limits, it becomes exploitable. People start to assume they have a right to it. And the sad reality is, the more you give, the more they will demand. You cannot keep pleasing everyone without eventually breaking yourself. You cannot keep bending over backwards without eventually snapping. And yet so many people continue to do this, thinking that being available to everyone, saying yes to every request, sacrificing their own time for others somehow makes them good, makes them moral, makes them worthy. It does not. What it does is train the world to take advantage of you. Think about the people around you, the friends, the family, the colleagues, the acquaintances who constantly ask for your help, your energy, your time. How many of them truly appreciate it? How many of them respect the effort you put in? How many of them would do the same for you if the roles were reversed? The truth is harsh, but it is necessary. Most of them will not. Most of them will accept what you give without even considering what it costs you. Most of them will demand more once they realize that your generosity is limitless. And if you do not set boundaries, if you do not enforce limits, they will consume you until there is nothing left to give. You have to understand that respect is earned, and respect is reinforced by your actions, not your intentions. You can have the best intentions in the world. You can be the kindest person on the planet. But if you allow people to walk all over you, if you allow them to take without limits, you are teaching them that you have no boundaries. You are teaching them that your life, your time, your energy is theirs to consume. That is not respect. That is exploitation. And it happens to people every single day because they have never learned to value themselves first. Being too available to everyone does not make you loved. It does not make you needed. It makes you expected. It makes your kindness routine. People start to see it as your obligation rather than your choice. They start to see your generosity not as a gift, but as a guarantee. And when that happens, your power disappears. When you I have no limits. When you do not demand respect, you are invisible in the eyes of the world. They take, and they take some more. And the only person who suffers is you. Your dreams stall, your energy diminishes, and your life drifts further away from the person you are meant to become. Now imagine what would happen if you refused to be taken for granted. Imagine what would happen if you started protecting yourself, your energy, your time. Imagine if you learned to say no unapologetically, to enforce boundaries firmly, to stop letting people assume that they have the right to your availability. Suddenly, the way people treat you changes. Suddenly, respect emerges. Suddenly, people begin to value what they once thought was unlimited. When you enforce limits, when you stop being too nice at the expense of yourself, you start to show the world that your energy is precious, that your time is sacred, that you are not to be exploited. People take notice. People adapt. People respect what they cannot take for granted. This is a principle that applies to every area of your life. Your time, your work, your emotions, your presence, all of it can be taken without respect if you allow it. The moment you give away your attention too freely, the moment you make yourself too available, you teach people that they do not need to appreciate you. And here is the brutal truth. The people who take the most without respect are usually the ones closest to you. They are the ones who know your heart, who know your patterns, who know your weaknesses, and they exploit them without hesitation. Friends, family, co-workers, partners, they will all test your limits if you do not enforce them. And that is why you must stop being available to everyone. Stop being too nice. Stop giving without thought or boundaries. You also need to realize that being respected does not come from pleasing people. It comes from commanding your space, protecting your time, and refusing to be manipulated. Respect is earned when you are clear about what you will and will not accept. Respect is reinforced when you stop being a resource for everyone and start being a priority for yourself. People will try to push you. They will test your limits. They will guilt you into giving more than you can afford. That is natural. But the stronger you become in your boundaries, the more they will learn to respect you. You cannot rely on people to recognize your value if you do not demonstrate it through action. Remember this, your kindness is not a license for others to exploit you. Your availability is not an obligation for the world. Every time you allow yourself to be taken for granted, every time you bend over backwards to please someone who does not respect you, you are teaching the world that your limits are negotiable. That is not how power works. That is not how influence works. That is not how life works for the people who succeed, the people who win, the people who build empires, the people who rise above mediocrity. They protect themselves first. They know that respect cannot be asked for. It must be commanded. And it is commanded through boundaries, through focus, and through refusing to be consumed by people who take without giving. So today, you need to ask yourself a hard question. How much of myself have I given to people who do not respect me? How much of my energy, my focus, my intent, my life has been taken without appreciation? And how long will I allow this to continue? Because the moment you decide to stop being too nice, to stop being too available, to stop letting the world take without respecting you, your life changes, your relationships change, your energy changes, your influence changes. People begin to see you differently. They begin to treat you differently. And you begin to reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. Being respected is not about being harsh. It is about being smart. It is about understanding the value of what you bring to the table and refusing to allow anyone to take it for granted. It is about standing firm, drawing lines, and saying no unapologetically. It is about being available to the right people for the right reasons in the right way, instead of spreading yourself thin and giving your life away to people who will never appreciate it. Stop allowing people to take what you give without respect. Protect yourself, honor your energy, and demand that the world meets you with the same respect that you give. Once you master this, once you enforce this principle consistently, you will see a transformation. People will start to value your time, your presence, and your energy. Your life will begin to align with your purpose. You will finally be in control of your own priorities, and that control is power. That power begins with one choice. Stop letting people take what you give without respecting your boundaries are one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. People hear the word and immediately think selfish, uncaring, cold, distant. They confuse saying no with being mean. They confuse protecting yourself with being harsh. And they confuse standing up for your life with being rude. But here's the truth you need to hear today. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential. They are the framework that allows you to live intentionally, to protect your energy, and to ensure that your life is not hijacked by other people's agendas. Without boundaries, you are a leaf in the wind, tossed around by every demand, every expectation, every distraction. Boundaries are what give you control over your own life, what allow you to focus on your purpose, what ensure that your time and energy are spent on what actually matters. Think about it for a moment. Every great person you know, every person who has achieved success, every leader, every innovator, every high achiever, they all have boundaries. They all have lines drawn in the sand. They know that saying yes to everything is a fast track to mediocrity. They know that their energy is finite, their focus is limited, and their potential is precious. They protect it fiercely. They understand that every time they say yes to someone else at the expense of their own priorities, they are diluting their power, they are wasting their influence, and they are sacrificing their future. And so they set boundaries. They choose carefully where they give their time, their attention, and their energy. They protect themselves not because they don't care about others, but because they care about themselves enough to live a life of purpose and impact. Boundaries are about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your time, respect for your life. When you establish a boundary, you are sending a message not only to the world, but to yourself. I value myself enough to say no when something does not serve me. I will not allow my life to be consumed by the demands, distractions, and expectations of others. I will not sacrifice my dreams for someone else's convenience. And here's the important part. Setting boundaries is not about building walls. It is about creating space. Space to grow, space to focus, space to be the person you are meant to become. Without that space, your energy is scattered, your attention is diluted, and your potential is wasted. Many people fear setting boundaries because they think it will make others angry, disappointed, or upset. They fear conflict, they fear rejection, and they fear being labeled as selfish. But here is the reality. The people who truly matter, the people who truly respect you will respect your boundaries. The people who are meant to be in your life will understand that your time, energy, and focus are limited and valuable. And the people who cannot respect your boundaries, the ones who complain, manipulate, guilt, or pressure you, those are the people who do not deserve your energy in the first place. Boundaries are a filter. They separate those who uplift you from those who drain you. They separate the people who support your growth from the people who stunt it. Boundaries are also about clarity. When you are clear about what you will and will not accept, you create an environment where expectations are defined. People know where they stand with you. They know how far they can push, and they know what is off limits. That clarity reduces stress, reduces conflict, and prevents resentment. Because here's the truth. Most of the frustration, anger, and exhaustion in life comes not from the people to act themselves, but from our failure to set boundaries with them. We let them overstep. We let them demand more than we can give. We let them dictate our time and energy. And when we do, we burn out, we feel exploited, and we lose sight of our own purpose. Boundaries prevent that. They protect your mental, emotional, and physical health. It is essential to understand that boundaries are not static. They evolve as you evolve. When you are growing, when you are chasing big goals, when you are stepping into the life you are meant to live, your boundaries must be enforced even more strongly. Your energy cannot be wasted on trivial matters, toxic relationships, or obligations that do not serve your vision. Every yes must be intentional. Every commitment must be purposeful. Every interaction must align with your priorities. And when you enforce those boundaries, you create a life that is structured around your dreams rather than someone else's expectations. You reclaim your power, your focus, and your freedom. Boundaries are also a form of self-discipline. saying no when it is uncomfortable, saying no when someone pressures you, saying no when your instinct is to please. This builds character. This builds strength. This teaches you to value yourself over external validation, to prioritize your growth over temporary approval. And here is the key. The more consistent you are with your boundaries, the more empowered you become. People stop taking you for granted. People begin to understand that you are not available at their convenience. You are available on your terms. That shift in energy transforms your relationships, your opportunities, and your entire life. Let's be real for a moment. You cannot build greatness without boundaries. You cannot reach the level of success, influence, or fulfillment you are capable of if your energy is scattered, your focus is divided, and your life is constantly hijacked by other people's demands. Boundaries are the framework for excellence. They are the rules that allow you to operate at your highest level. They are the armor that protects your dreams from being trampled by distractions, obligations, and people who do not respect your time. And once you embrace boundaries, once you understand their power, once you enforce them unapologetically, your life changes. You start to see results that were impossible when you were too available, too accommodating, too willing to sacrifice yourself for others. Here's the bottom line. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential. They are the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of purpose. They are the difference between being consumed by everyone else's demands and being in control of your own destiny. They are the difference between burnout and growth, between chaos and focus, between being exploited and being respected. If you want to achieve greatness, if you want to build a life that matters, you cannot ignore this. You must protect your time, protect your energy, protect your focus, and set clear boundaries. Your life, your dreams, and your future depend on it. It is time to stop apologizing for your limits. It is time to stop feeling guilty for saying no. It is time to start valuing yourself enough to enforce boundaries that protect your life and elevate your purpose. Once you do, everything changes. Your energy multiplies, your focus sharpens, your relationships improve, and your life begins to reflect the person you were always meant to become. Boundaries are not a choice, they are a necessity. And the moment you embrace them, you step into power, control, and greatness. Respecting yourself is not a luxury. It is not something that you do when it is convenient, when you feel like it, or when everyone else gives you permission. Respecting yourself is a necessity. It is the foundation on which every achievement, every relationship, every success is built. And one of the clearest ways to show self-respect is by prioritizing your goals, because your dreams, your ambitions, your vision for your life are the reflection of your potential, of your worth, and of your future. When you fail to prioritize your goals, when you constantly put everyone else first, when you sacrifice your mission for the convenience or comfort of others, you are sending a message to yourself and the world that you do not truly value your own life. And that is a trap that too many people fall into every single day. People will always ask for more. They will demand your attention, your energy, your focus. They will pull you into distractions, into obligations, into causes that have nothing to do with your growth or your purpose. And if you do not respect yourself enough to prioritize your own goals, you will allow them to do it. You will scatter your energy. You will dilute your focus. You will put your dreams on hold while you chase the expectations of others. And the worst part is, the world does not pause to wait for you. Every second you waste on things that do not serve your mission is a second that is gone forever. A second that you cannot reclaim. A con that someone else may use to overtake you in life, to achieve what you were capable of achieving. Prioritizing your goals is not selfish. It is a declaration. It is a statement to the world, and more importantly to yourself, that your life matters, that your dreams matter, that your future matters. It is saying, I respect myself enough to invest in the person I am becoming, not just the person I am today. Every choice you make, every action you take should be measured against your goals. Will this move me closer to what I want? Or will it pull me away? Will this conversation, this meeting, this obligation, this relationship, this habit serve my mission, or will it drain me? If it does not serve your goals, then it is not worthy of your time, your energy, or your attention. Too many people spend their lives living for everyone else. They live for approval, for acceptance, for praise, for convenience. They show up for everyone else's dreams, but fail to show up for their own. They postpone their ambitions in favor of someone else's comfort. They sacrifice their time, their health, and their focus, and then wonder why life is not rewarding them. The truth is brutal. Life rewards those who respect themselves enough to prioritize their own growth. Life rewards those who refuse to let their goals be optional, who treat their dreams like non-negotiable commitments. Those who respect themselves enough to take their mission seriously, even when no one else understands it, even when the world pressures them to conform, even when their decisions make others uncomfortable, are the ones who achieve greatness. Respecting yourself enough to prioritize your goals also means learning to say no. Saying no is not just about refusing people. It is about refusing mediocrity, refusing distractions, refusing anything that does not serve your purpose. Every yes you give that does not align with your mission is a no to yourself. Every time you put someone else's agenda above your own dreams, you are denying your worth. And the people who do not respect your time, who do not value your focus, who do not support your ambition, they will push. They will guilt you. They will question you. They will try to make you feel selfish. But here's the truth. Prioritizing your goals is not selfish. It is self-respect. It is courage. It is the only way to ensure that your life reflects your potential, not the expectations of others. Your goals are sacred. They are the blueprint of your future. They are the measure of what you can become. And if you do not respect yourself enough to prioritize them, no one else will. People may applaud you for helping them, for being available, for saying yes, but they will not build your life for you. They will not pursue your vision. They will not fight for your dreams. That is your responsibility. That is your duty. That is the mark of respect. You owe yourself, because no one else can live your life and no one else can build the future you are capable of creating. Only you can do it. Only you can commit to it. Only you can prioritize it. Prioritizing your goals also means protecting your time and energy like a fortress. Every distraction, every negative influence, every unnecessary obligation is a thief waiting to steal what you cannot afford to lose. When you respect yourself, you become vigilant. You guard your focus, your routines, your habits, and your environment. You surround yourself with people, circumstances, and energies that elevate you rather than drain you. You stop being too available to everyone else because you recognize that your life is valuable and that your attention is a limited, non-renewable resource. Respecting yourself enough to prioritize your goals is not just about doing the right things. It is about eliminating the wrong things entirely. There is also a psychological power in prioritizing your goals. When you respect yourself enough to put your mission first, you command your own life. You stop being reactive. You stop being a slave to other people's expectations. You become proactive. You design your life around what matters most. You start to see opportunities that were invisible when your focus was scattered. You start to attract people who respect your vision, not just your availability. You start to experience a sense of purpose that carries you through challenges, obstacles, and resistance. Because when your life is aligned with your goals, when your actions reflect your respect for yourself, you become unstoppable. The harsh truth is this: if you do not respect yourself enough to prioritize your goals, no one else will. People will take what you give. They will assume your availability is limitless. They will consume your energy, your focus, and your time until you are exhausted and unfulfilled. But when you draw the line, when you put yourself first, when you treat your dreams like they are non-negotiable, the world responds differently. The people who matter align with your vision. The people who do not respect you drift away. And in that clarity, in that focus, you finally create the life you were meant to live. Respecting yourself enough to prioritize your goals is not a one-time decision. It is a lifestyle. It is a discipline. It is a commitment you make every day, every hour, every second. It requires vigilance, courage, and consistency. It requires saying no more than you say yes. It requires thinking about the long-term impact of your actions, not the short-term convenience of pleasing others. And when you live this way, when you treat your goals as sacred and your life as valuable, you begin to operate on a whole new level. Your productivity increases, your influence grows, and your potential begins to manifest in ways you never imagined. The bottom line is simple. If you do not respect yourself enough to prioritize your goals, you will spend your life living for everyone else, reacting to everyone else, and chasing everyone else's dreams. But if you choose to respect yourself, if you choose to put your mission first, if you choose to treat your goals as non-negotiable, your life changes. You become the master of your time, the guardian of your energy, and the architect of your destiny. Respect yourself enough to prioritize your goals, and the world will have no choice but to recognize your value. Being nice is often celebrated as a virtue. People tell you to be kind, to help others, to always accommodate, to avoid conflict. They say that if you are too nice, you will be loved, admired, and respected. But here is the harsh truth that most people refuse to acknowledge. Being too nice can make you weak, not loved. Niceness without boundaries, kindness without self-respect, generosity without discernment, it is not a virtue. It is a liability. It is a vulnerability that others exploit, manipulate, and take advantage of. People will not admire your constant availability. They will not appreciate your automatic yes. They will assume it is your weakness. They will see your over-accommodation as an opportunity, not as a gift, and they will walk all over you until you learn to stand firm. Too many people live their lives trying to please everyone, believing that niceness equals value. They say yes to things they should say no to. They overextend themselves to people who do not deserve their time. They put the comfort, convenience, and expectations of others above their own growth, above their own dreams, above their own well-being. And what happens? They get nothing in return. They get drained, exhausted, and frustrated. They realize that the world does not reward blind compliance, that people do not respect someone who gives without limit, that love is not built on over-availability. In fact, the very act of being too nice can lead to resentment, exploitation, and disappointment. You are not respected for being soft. You are taken for granted. You have to understand that love and respect are not the same thing. You can be nice all day, every day, and people will like you, but that does not mean they will respect you. They may smile at your face, but behind your back, they assume they can push your limits. They assume they can demand more than you can give. They assume that your energy is infinite. They assume that you exist to accommodate them, to serve them, to meet their needs while neglecting your own. And if you do not enforce limits, if you do not value yourself enough to refuse, they will continue to take. They will continue to drain. They will continue to weaken you without you ever realizing it. Being too nice can also create a false sense of security in others. When people see that you always comply, that you never challenge them, that you always make yourself available, they start to assume that you are malleable, controllable, and non-threatening. They do not see your potential, your ambition, your strength. They see your perceived weakness. And the moment they detect weakness, they exploit it. They push your boundaries further and further until you are left exhausted, frustrated, and powerless. Niceness without boundaries is a silent invitation for others to dominate your life while you stay in the background, hoping for approval, acceptance, or recognition that may never come. You must also understand that being respected is more important than being liked. Being liked is temporary. It is conditional. People like what is convenient, comfortable, or beneficial to them. Respect, however, is earned through strength, consistency, and self-control. And self-control begins with knowing when to say no, when to assert yourself, and when to prioritize your life over pleasing others. If you are too nice, if you allow people to dictate your actions out of fear of being disliked, you are sacrificing your power for approval. You are exchanging influence for temporary acceptance. And in doing so, you are training the world to expect your compliance as a default, not a choice. Think about it in real terms. How many times have you given too much of yourself, overextended, overcommitted, or overaccommodated, only to realize that the people you were giving to did not value it? How many times have you felt exhausted, frustrated, or resentful because your kindness was assumed, demanded, or exploited? That is the consequence of being too nice. That is the cost of living without limits. And it is a cost that you cannot afford if you want to be strong, independent, and successful. People do not love weakness. They exploit it. They do not respect over availability. They manipulate it. They only value power, consistency, and clarity. Being strong does not mean being mean. It does not mean being cruel. It does not mean rejecting people arbitrarily or being harsh without reason. Strength means having clarity about your worth, your priorities, and your boundaries. Strength means saying no when necessary. Strength means refusing to allow others to dictate your life or drain your energy. Strength means being generous and kind selectively, intentionally, and powerfully, not automatically or indiscriminately. And here is the key. When you learn to be strong instead of being overly nice, you do not lose love. You gain respect. You do not lose relationships. You cultivate relationships with people who truly value you, who honor your time, who match your energy. Strength filters out those who exploit you and attracts those who uplift you. The moment you embrace this truth, your life changes. The moment you realize that being too nice is not love but weakness, you start to act differently. You stop overextending yourself. You stop being available to everyone. You stop prioritizing everyone else's comfort over your own growth. You start respecting your time, protecting your energy, and valuing your focus. You start to treat your kindness as a choice, not a default. Lieutenant in the world begins to respond differently. People begin to respect your boundaries. People begin to value your presence. People begin to appreciate your energy because they realize it is not infinite. It is precious. Niceness without boundaries is not sustainable. It leads to burnout, frustration, and resentment. It leads to a life where others dictate your priorities while your dreams, your focus, and your potential are neglected. But when you learn to balance kindness with strength, generosity with discernment, compassion with boundaries, you create a life that commands respect, protects your energy, and aligns with your purpose. You do not need to apologize for prioritizing yourself. You do not need to feel guilty for enforcing limits. You do not need to compromise your life to appease others. The stronger you become in asserting yourself, the more people value you, the more they respect you, and the more power you reclaim for yourself. So here is the message. Stop confusing niceness with love. Stop allowing your overavailability to be mistaken for value. Stop thinking that pleasing everyone is the key to being liked. People do not love weakness. They exploit it. They do not respect blind compliance. They manipulate it. If you want to be truly appreciated, if you want to be respected, if you want to live a life of influence and impact, you must learn to be strong. You must learn to enforce limits. You must learn to say no unapologetically. You must learn to be selective with your energy, your attention, and your presence. Strength is the ultimate expression of self-love. And self-love is the foundation of a life well lived. Being too nice can make you weak, but being strong makes you unshakable. It does not mean being unkind. It means being intentional. It means being deliberate. It means refusing to allow your generosity, kindness, or availability to be exploited by people who do not deserve it. Once you internalize this, once you start acting with strength rather than blind niceness, you will see the world respond differently. You will attract respect, loyalty, and people who truly value you. Your life will begin to align with your purpose and your energy will multiply. And that is the difference between being liked and being respected, between being weak and being powerful, between being taken for granted and being unstoppable. Too many people live their lives chasing numbers instead of value. They measure success in friends, followers, likes, or acquaintances instead of depth, loyalty, and genuine connection. They think the more people they have in their circle, the more fulfilled they will be, the more love they will feel, the more important they will seem. But here is the truth you need to hear. Quality over quantity in relationships is not just a guideline. It is a rule for survival, for growth, for success. You cannot be everything to everyone. You cannot pour energy into people who will never respect it, never reciprocate it, and never support your purpose. And yet too many people continue to spread themselves thin, giving their heart, their time, and their energy to dozens, hundreds, even thousands of people who have no intention of investing back in them. Relationships are like investments. You cannot put equal stock into every single opportunity and expect every one of them to yield returns. Some people will give you nothing. Some will drain you. Some will distract you, and some will elevate you beyond your imagination. The key is learning to identify the latter and investing in them, nurturing them and protecting them fiercely. When you prioritize quantity over quality, you dilute your energy, scatter your focus, and compromise your influence. You create noise in your life. You surround yourself with shallow connections, with people who do not have your back, who do not uplift you, and who cannot understand or support the vision you are chasing. And while you are busy trying to maintain these meaningless connections, your time, your energy, and your potential lie wasted. Think about it. How many of the people you call friends or consider close are actually there for you when it matters? How many will stand by your side when things get hard, when the pressure comes, when the world is testing your limits? The numbers do not matter. The appearances do not matter. What matters is depth. What matters is loyalty. What matters is mutual respect and shared vision. The people who are meant to be in your life will challenge you, push you to grow, and celebrate your victories without envy. They will not drain your energy or take advantage of your time. They will add value, not subtraction. And those are the relationships worth keeping. Those are the relationships worth protecting. Those are the relationships worth prioritizing. Being too available to too many people leads to shallow connections. When you are always present for everyone, when you say yes to every request, when you are constantly trying to be liked, you do not have the bandwidth to be truly present for anyone. You cannot nurture a deep relationship when your attention is fragmented, when your focus is scattered, when your energy is diluted. The quality of your relationships is directly proportional to the attention, time, and energy you invest in them. If you are stretching yourself too thin, the people who deserve your loyalty, your guidance, and your presence get lost in the shuffle. They get diluted, overlooked, and underappreciated. And that is a tragedy because meaningful relationships are not a luxury. They are the foundation of success, influence, and fulfillment. The world will try to convince you that you need to be liked by everyone, that you need a large network, that you need to maintain countless relationships to be relevant. That is a lie. True power and influence come from a focused circle, a committed network, and relationships built on respect, loyalty, and shared purpose. When you cultivate quality connections, you create an environment where people lift you, challenge you, and inspire you. You create a circle that holds you accountable, that pushes you toward your goals, that refuses to let you settle for mediocrity. And when you invest in these people, when you prioritize them, when you focus your energy on them, instead of trying to please everyone, you gain an exponential return on your time and effort. Quality over quantity also means protecting yourself from energy vampires. There are people in your life who drain you without giving anything back. They demand your time, attention, and emotional investment without ever reciprocating. They gossip, complain, manipulate, and distract. They take and take and take until you feel empty, frustrated, and exhausted. These relationships are toxic, and they have no place in the life of someone who is serious about their growth. When you embrace quality over quantity, you stop tolerating these people. You stop giving them access to your energy. You stop letting them dictate your emotional state or derail your focus. You create a protective boundary around your time, energy, and mind. A boundary that ensures only the right people are allowed to influence your life. The most successful, the most influential, the most fulfilled people do not have thousands of friends. They have a few trusted allies, mentors, and partners who are committed to their growth and success. They have people who challenge them, who hold them accountable, and who push them to be their best. These relationships are strategic, intentional, and sacred. And the beauty of focusing on quality over quantity is that it creates a multiplier effect. Every hour you invest in a meaningful relationship yields far greater returns than dozens of hours wasted on shallow, unreciprocated connections. Every conversation, every interaction, every shared experience with the right people becomes a building block for your success, influence, and fulfillment. It also requires courage. Choosing quality over quantity means saying no to people who drain you, refuse to grow with you, or do not align with your vision. It means letting go of relationships that have become obligations rather than blessings. It means prioritizing yourself and your mission over appearances and social expectations. And that is not easy. The world will challenge you, question you, and even criticize you for your choices. But here is the truth. You cannot control what others think, and you cannot force someone to value your presence. You can only control your focus, your energy, and the circle of people you choose to invest in. Choosing quality over quantity is an act of self-respect, self-awareness, and strategic living. The moment you embrace quality over quantity in relationships, your life changes. Your energy multiplies. Your focus sharpens. Your purpose becomes clearer. You attract people who elevate you instead of distract you, who push you instead of drain you, who inspire you instead of holding you back. Your relationships become sources of strength rather than weakness. Your circle becomes your sanctuary, your support system, and your launch pad. You realize that you do not need everyone's approval, and you do not need everyone's attention. You only need the right people, the ones who match your energy, respect your boundaries, and align with your mission. Stop being too available to everyone. Stop spreading yourself thin. Stop chasing people who do not care about your growth. Stop investing time, energy, and heart into shallow relationships. Focus on quality over quantity. Build a circle that challenges you, supports you, and elevates you. Protect your energy, respect your time, and cultivate relationships that serve your purpose. Because at the end of the day, the depth of your relationships is what shapes your life, your influence, and your legacy. The people who truly matter will stay. The rest will fade away. And that is exactly how it should be. Your time and energy are the two most valuable resources you have, and yet most people treat them as if they are infinite. They give them away freely, carelessly, and without thought. They allow distractions, obligations, and toxic people to consume them until there is nothing left for what truly matters. You need to understand something very clearly. Time and energy are sacred. They are the currency of your life. Once they are spent, you cannot get them back. You cannot rewind, pause, or reclaim them. And yet, so many people live as if they are disposable, as if they belong to everyone else but themselves. This is the reason why so many people feel exhausted, unfulfilled, and frustrated. They have allowed their most precious assets, time and energy, to be hijacked by people, situations, and habits that do not serve their growth. Being too nice, too available, or too eager to please often leads to this depletion. When you say yes to everyone, when you bend over backwards for everyone, when you put everyone else's needs before your own, you are effectively giving away your life. You are giving away the hours, the focus, the mental clarity, the emotional strength that you could have invested in your dreams, your growth, and your purpose. And here is the brutal truth. People will take your time and energy without even thinking twice. They do not see the cost to you. They do not see the sacrifice. They only see the opportunity to gain from you. That is why protecting these sacred resources is not just a recommendation. It is a necessity. Protecting your time and energy begins with boundaries. It begins with knowing what you will and will not accept, with being clear about your priorities, and with refusing to let others dictate how you spend your life. Saying no is not selfish. Walking away from distractions, toxic relationships, or unproductive obligations is not rude. In fact, it is the opposite. It is an act of self-respect, discipline, and intelligence. Every hour you spend with someone or on something that does not elevate you is an hour stolen from your purpose. Every bit of energy you expend on someone who does not appreciate it is energy that could have been invested in your growth, your focus, and your dreams. And when you begin to understand this, everything changes. You start to protect yourself. You start to guard your life. You start to treat your time and energy as the sacred assets they truly are. Think about it. How many times have you committed to things out of obligation rather than choice? How many times have you extended yourself to people who do not care, who do not respect, who do not support you? How many hours, days, even years have been spent on things that ultimately added nothing to your life? That is the cost of being too available, too nice, and too willing to sacrifice yourself for others. And the tragedy is that this can happen slowly, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize that your life is not your own. That is why protecting your time and energy is not negotiable. It is not optional. It is the most important decision you can make if you want to live a life of impact, fulfillment, and purpose. Protecting your time and energy also requires awareness. You must become aware of how you are spending your hours, where your focus is going, and who is consuming your energy. Most people live reactively. They respond to emails, texts, calls, and demands without thinking. They allow interruptions, obligations, and distractions to dictate their day. They have no plan for their time and no strategy for their energy. And that is a recipe for exhaustion and mediocrity. To protect these sacred resources, you must be proactive. You must design your life intentionally. You must schedule your priorities, limit your distractions, and surround yourself with people and environments that respect your time and energy rather than drain them. Another important aspect of protecting your time and energy is learning to be selective. Not everyone deserves your presence, your attention, or your effort. Not everyone deserves to benefit from your skills, your knowledge, or your generosity. You must develop the courage to say no, to walk away, and to disengage from people and situations that do not align with your values, your priorities, or your goals. And this is where so many people fail. They fear rejection, conflict, or disapproval. They fear that setting limits will make them appear selfish or unkind. But the reality is the exact opposite. By protecting your time and energy, you show the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are serious about your life, your dreams, and your purpose. Energy is also sacred because it fuels everything you do. Physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, they are all finite. Every time you overextend yourself for others, you deplete these reserves. You rob yourself of the power to focus on your priorities, to achieve your goals, and to live a life of excellence. Protecting your energy means saying no to negative influences, toxic people, and unproductive habits. It means investing in activities, relationships, and routines that uplift you rather than drain you. It means recognizing that every interaction, every decision, and every commitment has a cost. And that cost is often your energy. The more you protect it, the more powerful you become, the more focused you are, and the more unstoppable your life becomes. Time and energy protection is also about accountability. You must hold yourself responsible for how you spend your life. Stop blaming circumstances, people, or the world for your exhaustion, frustration, or lack of progress. You control your attention. You control your choices. You control the boundaries you set and the people you allow into your life. When you accept this responsibility, you reclaim control over your most valuable resources. You start living intentionally instead of reactively. You start building momentum instead of wasting it. And that momentum compounds over time, creating a life of purpose, influence, and fulfillment. Finally, protecting your time and energy is about self-love. It is about valuing yourself enough to refuse to be exploited, to refuse to be drained, and to refuse to sacrifice your life for people and causes that do not matter. It is about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot help others achieve your goals or live a life of significance if you are constantly depleted, scattered, or overextended. Your time and energy are sacred because your life is sacred. And when you treat them as such, everything changes. Your relationships improve. Your focus sharpens. Your impact multiplies. Your life finally aligns with your purpose. So here is the message. Stop being too available to everyone. Stop giving away your time and energy carelessly. Stop allowing distractions, obligations, and people who do not value you to hijack your life. Protect these resources fiercely, intentionally, and unapologetically. Respect yourself enough to say no. Respect your mission enough to prioritize your growth. Respect your energy enough to invest it wisely. Once you do, you will see the difference. You will attract people who respect your presence. You will focus on what truly matters. You will achieve more in a month than you used to in a year. You will finally reclaim your life, your power, and your destiny. Your time and energy are sacred. Guard them like your life depends on it, because it does. Now, listen to me closely, because this is where it all comes together. Everything we've talked about, the boundaries, the self-respect, the discipline, the focus, the understanding of energy, time, and relationships, it all leads to this one undeniable truth. Your life is yours, and no one else is responsible for it. You cannot live for everyone else and still live for yourself. You cannot give everything to everyone else and still have the strength, clarity, and focus to chase your dreams. You cannot continue being too nice, too available, and too accommodating, expecting that the world will somehow reward you for it. The world does not work that way. The world does not respect weakness. The world does not honor over availability. The world responds to strength, purpose, and intention. And the moment you understand that, the moment you take it seriously, your life changes forever. It is time to take a stand for yourself. It is time to stop apologizing for saying no. It is time to stop feeling guilty for protecting your energy, your time, and your dreams. Every hour you spend giving your life away to people who do not deserve it, every ounce of RGY you waste trying to please everyone, every relationship you maintain out of obligation rather than value, it is all holding you back from the greatness you were born to achieve. You are stronger than that. You are smarter than that. You are meant for more than being drained, overextended, and overlooked. You are meant for impact. You are meant for purpose. You are meant to live a life that commands respect, inspires others, and leaves a legacy that cannot be ignored. Remember this: boundaries are not selfish. Saying no is not cruel. Protecting your energy is not unkind. Prioritizing your goals is not arrogance. And choosing quality over quantity in relationships is not isolation, it is wisdom. Every choice you make to honor yourself, every decision to guard your time, every action to protect your energy, every limit you set is a brick in the foundation of the life you are building. It is the fuel that will power your focus, your growth, your success, and your fulfillment. And the people who truly matter, the ones who respect you, support you, and elevate you, will rise to meet the standards you set. The rest, they will fade, and that is exactly how it should be. So here is your challenge. From this moment forward, refuse to be anyone's default option. Refuse to sacrifice your dreams for convenience. Refuse to give your energy to anyone who does not respect it. Respect yourself enough to enforce your boundaries. Value yourself enough to prioritize your growth. Protect your time, focus, and relationships like they are the most precious treasures in your life, because they are. Be deliberate, be intentional, be bold, and be unapologetic. Stop being nice in a way that makes you weak, and start being strong in a way that makes you unstoppable. Your time is now. Your energy is now. Your life is now. And the moment you step into this truth, nothing can stop you. The world will adjust. Your circle will adjust. Your life will adjust. But the one thing that will never change is this: the power to protect yourself, to prioritize your dreams, and to live a life of impact has always been in your hands. Use it. Own it. And watch as everything in your life begins to change, because you finally stopped being available to everyone else and started being available for the one person who matters most, yourself.